call, Lisa?
Chapman?
Here.
Clark? Absent. Wilbur? Patton?
Here.
Tyler?
Yep.
Johnner?
Here. Here. Agenda, we have a few additions and corrections. Under approval of the bills, payables are $12,618.05. Total, $91,044.90. Under action items, A, contribution for Vista worker is scratched for tonight. It will come back next month, I'm sure. F, appoint Chad Munger to DDA. G, tavern anniversary party. H, Reese and Riley, extension of Brook Street. Under old business, resident letter. With those additions and corrections, your motion to approve the agenda as corrected,
I make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
and moved and supported. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion say aye. Opposed? Motion is carried. Motion to approve the minutes of June 14th, 2017 regular board meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Been moved and supported to accept the minutes of the June 14th meeting. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Public comment. Chris, if you would like to, or you can wait till we come up to it. It's up to you, your
I think
call.
we can wait till, that's fine.
Okay, that's fine. Anybody else have anything?
I got something.
Okay.
I would like to thank Carol and her cousin. They took the time to clean up and improve the looks of the chamber cabin for the 4th of July. It looked like a mess, so we went over there and her cousin cleaned it up and bought some fake flowers and put it in there. And that's up in the flag and everything, so.
Very good.
Thank you, Carol.
They took care of it.
Reports, Scott?
Thank you. Hopefully everybody got a chance to look at the report, kind of a busy month. Lots of things on the left-hand side there. To the right there, car show went really well. Bachman's birthday party went really well. It rained, but everybody seemed to have a good time and behaved really well. We hosted the chiefs meeting for the area chiefs. School graduation, all the special events there. I attended a 3-day conference in Bel Air, which was the northern, or not northern, but it's the statewide Chiefs Association. And then you'll see here there's ordinance issues. We're constantly working on those. Throughout the summer, I think we've had probably a total of 160 ordinance issues that we've been dealing with in 4 different waves. One was 80, one was 60, I think the other one was 20. Sorry, 3 different waves. Some of them are repeat ones, some of them are ones that are kind of ongoing. The issue that we have at hand right now is the non-compliant ones, and we're kind of looking at about 6 to 8 of them right now. I got word today and yesterday that 2 of them are really serious about coming into compliance, which I'm glad. But at some point, we're going to have to do something with the non-compliant ones that are not, they've been given handwritten notices 2 times, they've been given written notice, and so. And I'll keep Larry appraised as far as where we're at, what we're doing, kind of what our intentions are. Just at some point, we're wasting a lot of time repeating what they need to do. So at some point, Brian Graham will get a report. And we're trying to avoid that because obviously, and not to undermine what Brian's doing, that it costs the village money to do that. So if we can get people to become compliant without incurring a cost, that's a whole lot better, I think, for the village, and better for us too. So, but at some point when we're investing so much time report-wise, complaint-wise, there's got to be something we need to do. So But at this point, I think we're down, and I don't know the official number, but it's somewhere between 6 and 8, or definitely under 10, where we've got the non-compliant ones, so. So we'll continue to work on that. Don works on them on the weekends, and that's kind of, he dedicates at least a little bit of time every week. And unfortunately, when we get the list dwindled down, we've got another wave of them because of grass or some other issues. So we're constantly evolving and creating new ones, so. We're not necessarily creating new ones, but new ones are being created, I should say.
Any questions? Scott?
Thank you.
Thank you. Sam?
Everybody should have a copy of the DPW report. Is there any questions on that before we go into talking about the water system? Pretty much typical month.
The new sewer was at the.
That was the church up behind the tavern. They asked to get hooked up to the sewer. Buffman's had time to hook it up, so we went ahead and tied them into the sewer. We had a couple of water leaks. They've been fixed. Dave Newcomb's water service, we talked about that quite a while ago, and that's all, he's all set. Everything's new all the way into his house. On that one. You'll see you got some cookies in front of you. That's what we call them. They're water main taps. The one that says Howard Street in Lake. Yep, I believe there's one that says Lake Street on it.
Yep.
Them were installed, according to my records, in 1962. Them two lines right there. The inside of them, it's cast iron, and all that basically is mineral staining on the inside of them lines. So them lines are basically 55 years old. The other one that says Ballard on it, is that right, Brian?
Ballard, yes.
That, to the best of my records, was put in 72. And there's not, other than mineral staining, the outside of the cast iron is actually pitted more than the inside. So the old cast iron water lines, I think they're still in really good shape. I think the flushing has really come a long ways and helped them, because there's not a lot on it. The PVC ones that they've tapped, they've been absolutely clean 100%. There's nothing on them, not even that mineral staining buildup on them. And we've got, up by Gary Martinson's house, we got a main that was supposed to be cut off that goes up to the school. We still have not found it. That's one of the old 2-inch lines that we're replacing. We can't find which way it's being fed. We have no idea. Where the map says it ties in at, we dug a trench 9 foot deep, 30 foot long. Beyond where the map says it ties in at, it don't tie in at. So tomorrow we're going to go up and dig the road up at the intersection of, I call it Chestnut, and, no, actually West Street and Ballard, or Brooks. And we're going to go ahead and, where we cross the 2-inch line at, we're going to physically cut it and separate it. And of course, water's going to go everywhere, but that's the only way I know which way it's fed by. Today down right beside Jack, the print shop, they started on Lincoln Street. The map says there's one 2-inch line that runs down the east side of the road, tied in from the old 4-inch all the way down to Ballard, and it said it's on the east side of the road. We put the first stick of pipe in the ground, everything was wonderful. Second stick of pipe we went to dig, the west side of the road, there's a 1-inch water line, and 3 homes went without water, and they called, of course, that we never knew was there. So that's kind of some of the things we're running into, and that's why I'm so glad we're replacing them. Because Jennifer, well, she's already got our system on the CAD system for Gordy Frazier. And when we get all done with this, we're more than likely going to ask her to give us a price on making a new map with all these new lines and all these old mains deleted. So the next person that takes my place has something a little bit better than what I had to go with. Any questions?
Sam, I have 2.
Yep.
When will the beach expansion project begin?
It's done.
Is it done already?
It's been done.
Awesome, cool, thanks.
That was done 2 months ago.
Yep.
Yep.
And is there a charge to residents when village equipment is used to, like Terry Moon's, if you're having to dig up his yard or something like that?
Nope.
Okay, cool, thanks.
Yeah, there would be a charge to village residents depending on what it is. I guess that's kind of the way to say it. If it was to repair a water line because they had a leak, we've done that for 100 people in town at no cost, and we will keep doing it for no
Okay.
cost.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Thank you.
Cory?
We had our meeting Monday, at a fairly late month due to ongoing projects with the flea market and the farmer's market bike night. On the agenda, you had Chad Munger, to DDA, we discussed that and pushed that through to you guys. Discussed flea market rules, liability waiver, and management of the flea market, and we're gonna have some draft rules in place by this Sunday. There's a lot of talk about the farmer's market and bike night. Bike night weather's creating some issues. It's rained three of the last 4 Thursdays, and it looks like it's gonna rain tomorrow night too. So it hasn't really been panning out all that well this year for that, but we'll just keep plugging away. And then we're gonna work on creating some routes. We did this last week. We only had like 6 people, but we've been around Torch Lake with the motorcycles and then back into town. And hopefully we can build on that. So that's what's going on there, and that's really all we had this week, or this month.
Questions for Cory? Lyle? Campground?
Well, this past month has been very busy. We had a great 4th of July with the first time since I've been here, we didn't have any trouble in the bathrooms. That first time. The only trouble with the bathrooms we had was up to the day part with that race. We've gotta have porta potties up there. Those 2 bathrooms cannot handle that race, and it was a mess. I was called up there twice to clean the toilets out. Other than that, we're full for the month, for the first week, or for the 4th, and right now we got a good crowd in there, but it's not totally full. We got more people coming in tomorrow, and this weekend they'll be full again. We're also booked for the 4th of July week next year. There is no room. So I think there's site 39, might have some time on it, but that's it. Other than that, I've been busy. Any questions?
We're getting lots of compliments on the bathrooms.
Getting a lot of compliments on the bathrooms, a lot of questions on where's the docks. But overall, the compliments on everything that was taken care of down there has been very favorable.
Yeah, I've had nothing but positive comments about the new bathrooms and
The only,
the boardwalk and the asphalt walkway and.
the only problem I got with the new bathrooms, we talked to Jennifer today and talked to Rob the other day and that, and you, we gotta put gutters up on those sheets.
Gutters and the, we gotta talk with D&M regarding a longer cycle time.
I talked to her
You're
today about.
handling that?
I'm on that. You know me, Jen.
Any questions for Lyle? Correspondence, there's an annual membership meeting for the Tippecanoe Watershed Council on Thursday, July 20th. If anybody is interested, 9:30 a.m. to noon at Stafford's Bayview Inn. There's a brownfields and placemaking workshop on the 26th at 9 a.m. till noon at the Community Center in East Jordan, 116 Main Street. And that is all the communications. Correspondence. Committee reports, streets, sidewalks, and lights. Lyle?
The streets are looking good. Actually, Tri-County's done a good job of keeping the traffic flow going through their construction. Not really any complaints on that end of it. The only thing we got left is the Reeve and Riley. I think we talked about this excuse me, last month and the month before, where on Brooks Street, we needed to extend feet. Sam met with Mike, last week, a couple weeks ago, and they gave us a bid for $81.85 to do the excavation and replace the asphalt all the way to M88. There's an extension to their original bid.
Anything else?
Other than that, I think everything's under control. Sam's doing a good job.
Sewer and water, we'll pass that up. Law enforcement, Bill?
Well, I think Chief covered everything pretty well. There's not anything else going on that I can think of.
Melissa, communications?
We postponed our meeting this month. As you know, Leila has had surgery. She is well, but she can't leave the house. She's got a shunt or a port in her arm to get medicine every day. She sees the doctor on Friday, and hopefully will get released so that she can actually leave the house. And she said to see you next month.
Good. Brian, finance personnel,
I don't have anything.
parks, Rob?
Let's see, revenues were up 5% over June of 2016. Also with that 5%, we have to keep in mind that Site 23 was back up, was out of the system for the month of June because that's where one of the water lines broke. So we took it off the books because we had to put seed down. So realistically, our revenue would have been greater than 5% if it weren't for that water main break. Let's see. I submitted a bill to TJM for the work that Sam and I did on the day that the docks were put in. So we got reimbursed, let's see, $760 for that. And then the village work hours for the removal of the dirt outside of the bathhouse. That was also supposed to be TJM's responsibility, so I put together a whole bill for them. So that was another $208.22 that we saved as well. And you got that invoice, right? I sent that to you?
It's in the change order in your packets.
All right.
Yes.
We're all set there. Let's see, North Street, like Sam said, parking lot's in place, just waiting on the guy and his broken foot. Other than that, if you walk through the campground, one of the nice things I did see from purely a money standpoint was the number of young kids with young parents. So if you start thinking out projecting 10 years, we're doing really well bringing the next generation in, so that way we can continue the growth of the campground between 5 and 10%. And I really like to see that. And the other thing I noticed while I was down there quite a bit during the 4th was the number of kayaks. So we're starting to move in that direction with the quiet sports and that sort of thing. And being part of the waterway trail, I think it's going to be an intricate part as people's tastes change and these younger people want to do other things and not what a 50 or 60-year-old person would necessarily want to do. So that was really encouraging. And if you spend any time down there with Lyle, boy, he gets the craziest requests and everything else. I wrote down muskrat. I don't know if you remember, there was a wounded muskrat you had to take care of.
Yeah.
I mean, this is all in one day. Site 7, he had to back in that big Montana that shouldn't even been on Site 7 along the stream, and his pop-out went all the way over the stream, cantilevered over.
It fit.
It fit. A lady tore up the whole side of her fifth wheel on one of the guardrails. These are all things that, you know, you take for granted sitting here, but if you spend a couple hours with the guy, I mean, putting air in kids' bike tires, things like that, that you don't necessarily see or you can't put a number value on. So again, Lyle, I can't thank you enough. Any one of you just go down there with some beer, just sit on his picnic table and, you know, just watch a whole day of what he does and just the myriad of requests that he gets and that he, one lady couldn't get the jacks down on her camper. I mean, the list goes on in one day of all the things he does, and it was really eye-opening for me. So, let's see, and that's it. Again, thanks, Lyle.
Thank you all.
Okay, my report. I think last month I announced that Michigan Municipal League was announcing their dividend, member dividends. The monies they've collected and not spent, so they reimburse us back. They are reimbursing a total of $8.2 million. And they sent us a check for $7.9 million. Just kidding. $1,540 is our reimbursement. So I thought that was pretty good. Rising tide update, all the council got the sheets that I compiled today, this afternoon. It is still being tweaked. We've had to back up and follow the guidelines of the CDBG monies. And it has caused a bit of delay, I guess is the best way to say it. We had to advertise for applicants for the administration of the grant, which initially the fund was going to be paid. Our contribution was going to cover that cost, but MEDC came in and said, no, we'll pay the administration cost. But when they did that, then it required the position had to be announced and the deadline established, which is tomorrow. And we have received one application to date with a possible another one tomorrow, according to what Rachel has told us. So, we will more than likely have to make a decision on that next month, and if we have to do it before, I may call a special meeting. So I don't want to delay this process any longer than it is, but I'm pretty sure that none of what is being proposed is going to happen until next spring now anyway. So the estimated cost of the project went from $220 to $230, based on the $10,000 for administration that MEDC is providing. These figures are still temporary. Dock construction and engineering was $75,000, pavilion construction of $62,110. Public restrooms and a storage room includes water line and sewer hookup, estimated at $30,000. That is going to change for sure. Tree removal is pretty firm at $2,000. Parking lot has to be tweaked a little bit at $5,000. I have put in branding. I don't know if CDBG funds can be used for that. I think everybody received an article that Charlevoix had just gone through the process and selected a brand. And I would like for us to go through that process, because then when we go to wayfinding signage, light pole banners, that branding can be included in the signage around town as well as everything else. So the $20,000 figure for the branding was a figure that I think the consultants gave us. It was either 15 or 20, so I estimated high. To hire an independent professional to come in and determine. He or she would go through the village, go through township, chamber, DDA, and probably there'll be a session or two of just brainstorming as to where we would like to go with this. Who do we want to attract, and what image do we want to project through all of that branding process. So the subtotal of that came to $209,110. The balance of $20,890 is a contingency fund, and if all monies are spent, there'll be a zero balance, obviously. So there's a few more tweaking steps that have to occur, but that will be down to the state. And essentially they are crossing their T's and dotting their I's. I think once they informed all of the Rising Tide communities that we were going to get $200,000, they thought that they could write us a check and we could go about and do whatever we came up with the plan. But because they're using CDBG monies, they have to meet the requirements of the federal government, which requires us to go through all of the steps. So that's the latest on the rising tide.
We're gonna do a Q&A on that?
We can do a Q&A on that, sure.
You said, you stated that we have to make a decision this month. What do you think the decision's gonna be, to modify this whole plan here?
No, the decision will be for who we hire for the administration.
Okay.
Northern Lakes Economic Alliance has submitted their application, and I'm not sure the other company that is called today and said that they would be submitting one.
All right, so who we hire from the MEDC for the tune of $10,000?
That's the decision, yes.
All right, and they're gonna give us like a proposal of what we're gonna get for our 10 grand?
Right,
All right,
which the MEDC is paying, so
we know out of pocket for the 10 grand then.
as far as we're concerned, no.
And we've got 2 groups currently that are vying for it? 2 individuals?
Well, Northern Lakes Economic Alliance is a group.
Yeah.
Well, and then the other guy was an individual.
Okay, so,
All right.
but the administration found, according to the CDBG guidelines, is a max of 10,000, so they can't exceed that regardless of what they do.
Okay.
And LEA is fully aware of all of that because of their experience with this.
Now is that Sarah Christensen, is that her outfit?
That's her own.
Yeah. All right, that's all I got, thank you.
Last meeting, I told you that the DEQ was going to do site assessments for brownfield, potential brownfield sites, free of charge to us. I told you that I selected 5, and I didn't announce who they were because I didn't want the word to go out. But 3 of them have agreed to allow them on their property. The first one being Central Lake Properties LLC, which is Chris Corbett, to enter the building that he owns that Bill Chapman works out of. The second one is Walt Russell's property. He is the neighbor to the DeStaco property to the north. DeStaco property is to the south, and he has agreed to allow them on his site. And the Conants, Conant Farm, they've agreed to allow them on one of their properties on Ellsworth Road, which used to be an old pallet factory. My guess is that they won't do that one just because the nature of it, of the history of that property. It's rare that a pallet factory is going to create any contamination, so they're not going to waste their time, but they might as well. They will begin with Bill's building. They will be on site Friday, and then the middle of August they'll come back. Friday they bring in a radar gun and do a sweep of the whole property to find out what is underground. And then from that, they develop a plan as to how they're going to approach the assessment of that. So, and that plan will begin August 14th, I think was the date that she gave me. So, I'm still working. I've been denied in one instance when I asked if they wanted to participate, and I'm still trying to contact the 2 other sites yet. During this past month, I think it was June 27th, I filed a complaint with the building department for a storage bin that is on West Street between two properties owned by the same individual. The storage bin is greater than 200 square feet. It appears as if they plan on leaving it there permanently, and I filed a complaint with the building department because it didn't meet the requirements for a building in excess of 200 square feet. I have not heard anything from them.
That's the shipping container,
Shipping
right?
container.
Correct.
On the west side of the road with the little min pin parking lot there. Yep.
And the resident letter we will discuss under
Yes.
old business. That's my report. If somebody has some questions. Pay the bills, prepaid $71,802.06, payroll $6,624.79, payables $12,618.05, total approved $91,044.90. Need a motion to pay the bills?
I'll make a motion to pay the bills as presented.
Been moved and supported. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Chapman?
Yes.
Lovelace?
Yes.
Patton?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yep.
Zona?
No.
Becker?
Yes. Okay. Action items. Approved invoice from Tri-County Excavating Group for $147,965.53 for the water main upgrade project. Any questions?
I think those guys are doing a fabulous job. I'll make a motion to pay that bill. The amount of $147,965.53.
Support. Moved and supported. Roll call.
Chapman?
Yes.
Lovelace?
Yes.
Patton?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yep.
Zona?
Yes.
Becker?
Yes. Protect is the organization that lobbies for the public road right-of-ways, and we have belonged, I know, the last 3 years for sure. The annual membership is $119. Need a motion to,
I'll support it.
been moved and supported, Chapman and Patton. Any questions? Roll call.
Chapman?
Yes.
Lovelace? Patton?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yep.
Zona?
Yes.
Yes. Approve invoice from Gordy Frazier for $18,825 for the water main upgrade. And E, approve invoice from Gordy Frazier for $6,950 for the water main upgrade project.
Can I just ask Jennifer one question?
Yep.
Could you put down, like, on the park project, it says, bathroom was completed and successfully turned over to the township on May 3rd. Could you put the village down?
Oh,
On
good grief. I have village in other spots.
the lady said that.
I'm sorry.
I seen it on there last month.
Thank you. I apologize.
Huh?
And that's on our 1-year warranty, goes into effect, because in May of this year for May of next year.
Correct.
The roof,
Everything for, as far as the bathroom, effective May 3rd.
May 3rd. All
Correct.
right, so something has to happen, they better do it before May 3rd.
We don't want you to see pounding nails on the roof up there.
Done enough.
I'll make a motion to pay those 2 invoices to Gordy Frazier.
Any support?
I'll support.
No support. Roll call vote.
Chapman?
Yes.
Lovelace?
Yes.
Patton?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yep.
Zona?
Yes.
Becker?
Appoint Chad Munger to the DDA. Need a motion to do that.
So moved.
Support.
I'll support.
Moved and supported. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Chris, would you like to explain what you're up to?
Yes. I'm having gonna have an anniversary party, and we'd like to, shut down from the alley on Maple up to State Street. And it'd be conjoined between the tavern, and, I will carry the outdoor,
Maple and Main Street. You said State.
oh, okay, Main Street, I'm sorry, yep. I wrote State on my map. And, I'd like to get permission to, barricade that half block off on, August 5th, it's a Saturday, from, starting at noon, and like 10 or 11 o'clock is when we're doing our entertainment inside, so pretty much everything's gonna be done outside. And have the barricades torn down, and business as usual come Sunday morning.
You want to close down all night?
Yes, it's probably gonna be working late that night to get the barricades,
Okay.
everything cleaned up afterwards, so.
Okay. You're working in conjunction with Classic Pizza?
Yes, yep, they're gonna be, Jeanette and Charlie, and I've spoken to, Paul out back. I still haven't got to the church behind me yet, but, I believe.
They're all behind you anyways at that point, so, yeah. So-
But we've got, for my temporary outside license, I have to get authorization to the village
Yeah, you don't-
to be able to use that property, and I need a sheet of paper, if it gets approved, that, a statement that's in here that I have to send in with the permit, so.
What about the church on Sunday morning? Is the barricades gonna be down by then?
Yes, that's what I said, we're gonna have to be, probably gonna have to be closed all night just to get that all cleaned up, and if nothing else, I'll
That was my
trailer everything
concern.
off to the side. Well, because they use all that parking from like Jocko's all the way up to the ball diamond. There's just no parking up there, both them churches go at the same time, so that's the plan anyways, to have the parking back open.
Okay.
How many years anniversary?
One,
One. Right on.
gotta start somewhere.
There you
Go,
go.
1 year, right on.
I'll make a motion to approve the Central Lake Tavern anniversary party on August 5th.
I'll second.
Been moved and supported. Any further discussion? Any questions for Chris? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Okay, Ethan Riley, I think we talked about this last meeting. It seemed kind of ludicrous not to extend Brook Street down to Main Street. And so it's all clean. And their bid came in at $8,185 to do that. So, I don't see any issues as far as paying for it. There should be enough in the funds to do that. Any further discussion?
Larry, that would be out of the major street fund too, because that's a major street.
You haven't got any other upgrades or, water lines or anything to do in the sewer lines in there?
Just a little bit more work, but with that, what work we gotta do will be done by the time they start blacktop.
That's what I mean, you don't have anything yet planned to do
No,
that.
no, this will be everything.
Because this will be done at the same time as the rest of the.
Yes. Tri-County hired Reith and Riley to blacktop the roads. On their end, this is just a separate contract with Reith and Riley, doesn't have anything to do with Tri-County on their paving. It's only between the village and Reith and Riley.
Any other questions?
They can work it in the same time.
It will be, it will be blacktopped at the same time.
Roll call vote?
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
Also,
Moved and supported. Roll call?
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay, old business. The resident letter is actually a new letter. The issue is old. The issue is nuisance ordinance and non-compliance with certain individuals. And I'm not going to pinpoint just one specifically, which is what the letter addresses. But we have somewhere between 4 and 8, and possibly 10 that are chronic problems that don't want to comply. And I think what we need to determine at some stage fairly soon is if we are going to spend some money to enforce those ordinances by hiring the attorney to send letters and ultimately ticket them, fine them, whatever the process or procedure is. I'm sure the attorney will have some input as to how we approach that. But I'm positive that Scott has documented contacts with all of these individuals, and they still don't want to comply. I would still prefer that they comply on their own, so we don't have to spend their money to enforce this. But by the same token, the neighbors are paying good money, and they shouldn't have to look at this. So I don't have any much more to say. I'm looking for feedback and a possible approach.
Scott, can you give us a history on it? Just how many times you've been there and you've got
Are we
it,
specific or kind of general?
whatever you feel is necessary.
And this is the problem we have. I mean, you've got letters that are coming from residents, which is a true concern. It's the balance of how much time to spend, how much money and ability to spend. You know, the only thing I would ask is just take things all into consideration. If you're getting letters, it definitely takes some consideration, but it's kind of the happy medium. I wish we could send a letter out one time, everybody complies,
Sure.
moving on to something else because we truly have better things to do. But it also is a serious issue of getting them taken care of in a timely fashion. We started this process in April, May, June, and some of these people are just not doing anything. So kind of what to do, I don't know. But just understand that obviously when we get letters, things are being done. Just, you know, if you added them all up for the whole summer, it's 160 some ordinance violations, and we're down to
For
about.
this individual?
What's that?
For this individual?
Well, that one, it's hit the time, this one is actually all 3 times.
3
April,
times.
May, and June, as far as the nuisance notices and
Uh,
reminders. But if you actually backtrack that one into previous year, yeah, there's a history.
quite a history.
But the problem is, then we get to the point where like we're at now, then all of a sudden, like today, I talked to somebody that I truly believe is gonna come in compliance, but they've already got 2, 3 letters and issues. I'm like, okay, why didn't we just do this the first time? It would've been so much simpler. So what we've tried to do recently is just pull a complaint number for every time, so they're gonna get documented. At some point, the only thing we can do is send something to Brian and enforce it, not only by citation and or letter. That's, I mean, some people have to be motivated that way, I guess, for lack of a better word, so.
The ordinance was voted in for a reason, to try to clean up. And it's been, you know, Scott's been monitoring and trying to enforce it. And so, again, I mean, at what point do we have to spend the money to go ahead and proceed on?
Enforce what we approve.
Enforce what we approve.
Well, and like I said, if you look at the scheme of things, I mean, 160 some notices, or at least by individual violations, if we're down to 8, that's pretty good compliance, I think. But, you know, the letter that you have, and even some other people that probably haven't submitted a letter, it's a valid complaint. Why do they have to live next to a place that, you know, and it has affected not only the way people have to see, it's also affected some of the real estate issues, because I think that letter also addresses a house that, you know, was next to it that, you know, people have to come look at it and say, okay, am I gonna buy a house next to this, that, or whatever, I don't know.
But if we don't go ahead and enforce it legally, then that sends a signal out to the other people that are compliant.
Just hold out and it won't go away.
Yeah, I don't know, and then unfortunately, as the summer comes along and we get to, now it's July, and then, you know, things start slowing down, and, you know, I don't know what the official answer would be. I can see both sides, I can see, you know, I also look at it from, you know, my part-time guy only works 2 days a week, and I'm spending a lot of time for him to do this, which is important, but he could be doing some other things too that are also equally important,
So we're spending money there too that really doesn't need to be spent if it was taken care of.
Well, you're spending the same amount of money, just we could be doing something else. You know, I guess I would say if he's downtown just shaking hands and, you know, talking to people, it's probably better. Money's better spent, so.
I think it's being handled right so far, and now we're to the point that we need to take the next step.
Well, and that's the thing, I mean,
If they're-
if
we're
you handle it one way,
getting complaints and they're
somebody's not happy, if you handle it
compliant,
another way, another person's not happy,
Three
and
notices.
it's just trying to keep everybody happy at all times, which is
after a
impossible.
number of notices and visits from the enforcement division and they're not complying,
No.
and then we get complaints, written complaints about it, then I think it's time to take the next step.
Sure.
I don't know, but-
And the only reason I put it on-
I mean, there's no use having the ordinance there if we're not gonna enforce it, of course.
And the only reason I put it on this,
And I know, I agree with you though, exactly, we should give them every opportunity to do it without a citation. I don't think that should be our first means, by no means.
and the only reason I put it on this month's agenda is so that we kind of are in communication all the time as far as this could be a possibility that, I don't want you guys to get blindsided with a bill from the attorney on things
No, we
that we're
understand
truly,
that.
and I think we're truly trying to do the best we can with what we have, so. But there's gonna be a couple that probably will have to be sent to the village attorney, so.
I think we can trust your judgment as far as how long you go before you.
Well, and I'll keep Larry in the loop, and, obviously you with law enforcement will kind of keep on top of it, I think, but it'll work out. And the letter that you have is from the resident, I kind of gave her the opportunity to, it's a valid complaint, it's a valid concern, and I think that will kind of help. Maybe that letter's gonna go with the complaint that's already on file to the village attorney to kind of explain the whole story, so. Or part of the whole story.
I know when we enacted these before we discussed the cost of enforcing it could be substantial. And I guess everybody decided, I know where everybody decided that, before we voted on it, that if it comes to that, it'd be worth the investment to take care of the problem. So I guess it's time now that we say, go ahead and do what we have to do.
I have no problem with that
I mean,
stance.
I'm sure you give them every opportunity to
Yeah.
comply without a citation, but if that isn't happening, then I think it's time that you go ahead and do your.
But the other problem is you've got people who get valid complaint that don't think they need warning after warning after warning. So it's a happy medium, I don't know.
Well, and we're still going through growing pains of this,
Sure.
but, so we're learning and we're trying to be nice about it. I mean, I know Scott's had several verbal comments, meetings with these people.
For the most part, I kind of stay out of it with the one guy, because if you had multiple people do it, they may say, well, so-and-so told me to get it. No. One person dealing with it is a lot more effective. Until, there's an issue, then I'll jump in and see what I can do to help them, so. But we're working on it. I think we'll get to it.
In that direction.
Scott, can you guesstimate how many hours you spend per complaint of the 160? Is it a couple hours for each one, 2, 3, half a day?
He works on the weekends, so usually Saturday, Sunday. He's probably spending,
I mean, like per complaint, can you guess that, is it an hour, a couple?
I don't know, obviously some of them are really diligent about, hey, I didn't know I couldn't do this, or I didn't know I couldn't have a car, and they're really efficient. Before the report can actually get written,
Right.
they're actually in compliance. I was like, holy crap. It'd be nice if everybody did that, but then some of them, I think if we had to average it out, I don't even know. Because of the volume, because if we're talking about 160, some of them, like I said, when we went around and actually handed out notices, that was kind of a informal, unofficial way of just saying, hey, get these things taken care of. So it didn't generate time, it didn't generate reports, because it's huge paper. If you all walked in my office, I could show you the stack and then backtrack it to the complaints. Just to sit down and write a report, is time consuming, it takes them off the road, and it's just kind of those things. I don't know how to give you an actual estimate. Some of the ones that are really causing some problems, they're taking quite a bit of
Days
time.
and weeks, probably.
Yeah, and then if you track some of them back, history-wise, I've got a stack of, I think a FOIA's coming down the pipe, so I kind of did some homework ahead of time, and it's pretty substantial.
So what criteria will this board say to Scott? Or just leave it to Scott's sole discretion to determine when to go to the lawyer?
Well, I think it has to be pretty much his discretion.
Some procedure, so that it's fair for everyone, it's not,
Well,
and
and I would caution you
people know
about
it,
that,
and the public
because,
know it as well,
Some people are compliant right away.
Right,
Others
right.
take just a little bit longer, and
Right.
that's why, his discretion would be, would be my thoughts, because his aim is to get the problem,
Right, but I'm thinking of how we can
Rectified
let the people know, let the people know that this is what's gonna happen,
Well, that's the point of, and this is kind of the big backlash of it. When they get that first notice, it basically spells it out. It's a $500 fine. And then, Brian and I were talking about today, somebody automatically accused us of getting them a $500 fine, and I'm like, absolutely not. That was part of the notice to imply, tell them what's going on. And they start telling people that they got a $500 ticket. It never happened, never happened. But people get kind of wound up about that. But, it's part of the initial part saying if you don't come into compliance, this is the penalty that could follow through with it. And that's not the intention of the village. It's not the intention of the police department to throw people tickets and arrest them and charge them all this stuff. Because we just want them to be compliant, because it helps not only the village, it helps my guy as far as time-wise, report-wise, and I think it helps the neighbors. And, no one wants to come into a town and see, stuff all over the place. And I think there's a reason for it. If we have guidelines, unfortunately, if you try to tag it with being fair, you can't really be fair to all the people all the time. You just try to do the best you can with what you have. Some people need some more time. And I'm not gonna go to a 90-year-old lady's house and tell her she's got 10 days to comply if she truly can't get it done in a timely fashion. So that's where the discretion comes in, as far as, we can give people some more time. As long as they're showing me that they're doing some compliance and they're making some progress, heck, I'll give them all the time they effectively need. But if you're truly telling me you're not gonna do anything about it, then I think we have an issue.
Do you have anyone that says they're just not doing it? Like, I'm not doing it, take me to court?
Yeah. So, I had a guy tell me he's gonna take me all the way to Supreme Court. I don't take it seriously, over it.
Yeah, you give them what you can. It's the ones that have been going on for several months, that you've had, repeat, those are the ones that I think need to be addressed.
Yeah. I just, at some point, we'll keep it down in the middle. I'm not gonna set everything to Brian. He's a nice guy, and he, deserves to make some money, but not at our expense, I think, sometimes. Because I think it's truly not money well spent, so. And we'll keep on, and we'll do the best we can.
We're probably only gonna do it once. I said we probably would only have to do it once before everyone else tightens up.
yeah, that gets going pretty fast.
It travels.
It's a shame to do on top of having to clean up, they have to pay a
Well,
fine too.
it's not money well spent for them either, because it's,
So,
the ordinance says it's $500 per occurrence, so it could be theoretically
Yeah, it is,
every other
yeah,
day.
isn't it?
But not that I don't think Brian would do that, or the village would want to do that.
yeah, so there's an incentive for them to comply.
I think what you're hearing from this group here anyway is, if you've got a chronic issue, which this one would appear to be, then do what you have to do.
Sure.
Go to the attorney and we will support you.
Well, and I don't know where our budget, I know we don't have it in the police budget for this kind of stuff, but at some point, I don't want it to get away from, we'll keep it on.
If it becomes excessive, we'll let you know.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Public comment?
Jennifer,
Motion
what are
adjourned.
you talking?
Huh?
Aren't you talking?
Do I need to?
I will. Under public comment, Jennifer Hodges finished up the, you were supposed to talk about this, Jennifer, the
Oh.
State Street Bridge inspection. State of Michigan, MDOT says we have to get it inspected every other year right now. Jennifer did the inspection this year on it, just finished up with it, entered all the information into the state of Michigan, and she is going to make a recommendation to the board that we start getting that bridge inspected every year. Food for thought, you guys want to, you may want to look at that inspection report, I have it in my truck.
What's it cost?
Oh, the report that was $650.
Did we pay that tonight? We haven't been.
No.
No, that
Oh,
was
I-
just funneled through Sam. And the only reason why I'm recommending is because of the age of the bridge. And there's one, as far as the slopes of the bridge, there's some concerns with the stabilization, so that was kind of considered a high priority. And that's something that Sam, DPW staff can address. It doesn't require any additional professional services. And then some crack sealing, adjustments of the sidewalk need to be grinded down, and then the guardrail needs to be addressed. So just keeping more attention to the bridge itself, but the biggest thing was just the
Whose bridge
stabilization.
is that, Sam? Is that
That's ours.
the
Village owns that.
Yep.
It's not the road commission?
No, village owns that bridge.
Okay.
Why?
Why what?
Why do we own it and not the county?
Because it's our road. County don't own it, state road, village, Central Lake owns it. So it's, I call it state road, State Street. That's our major road.
Well, that's just what it is.
They plow no anytime, don't
No?
No.
The county?
they? Yeah.
Well, come on, Margaret, you've been around too
I
long.
thought they did Main Street and State Street.
We
They
plow all
go,
of
they go down
State Street.
through there, they're not regular.
We plow all of State Street, Margaret. Village limits, village limits.
They can't.
We're making money from Act 51 on it, let's put it that way.
And I knew we plowed it, but I thought when they took their trucks over, that they did it as well.
They don't lower their blade until they hit the village limit sign that way or that way anymore.
Okay.
Bud plows,
Pardon?
Bud Wognot plows.
Bud Woodman's the only one for the county that'll actually drop his blade in town. He's the only one. But Jennifer's made the recommendation to me that we start inspecting that bridge every year because of the age. And at this point, I'm gonna go by what she recommends because she is the engineer. I know nothing about it.
Thanks, Sam.
Well, for $650, I mean, to me, it's a cheap insurance policy to keep on top of it.
Well, and if I don't do it, the state's ultimately gonna come back and say it anyway, just because of the age and some of the things that we're finding.
And that's,
They probably cost more, right?
Well, no, they would require you to hire an independent person to do it anyway, so.
right.
But yeah, and most of the stuff that we found, they're maintenance items, I mean, it's nothing structural, but,
Stay on top of maintenance and stop some structure.
correct, yeah.
And you would do that under contract every year then?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
We have been
I
doing
sign
it.
one with her every year, every other year.
every other, yeah.
We've been signing one. Since it was $650, I never put it through the council because I can approve it at that point. And it's normal maintenance budgeted in.
I got one more thing. Last Saturday, I was approached by a lady who went to the beauty bar last week, and she crossed the crosswalk between Classic Pizza and the tavern. There was a couple pretty good sized holes in there, so I got a hold of Sam on Monday, and they went up there within 10 minutes and patched some holes, and so everything's good now. So I want to thank him for.
That's gonna go back to the same old thing, who's responsible to patch it? Is it us or the county?
I think they finally did patch up and strip down in front of the
The
funeral.
county did, yep.
Yeah.
You know, we're in town every day, we don't see it, honest to God. When Brian brought it to my attention, that's why I said I'll send somebody up right away to get it. And I thank Brian for bringing it to my attention.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Moved and supported, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
So
carried, thank you
you're
all
gonna
for
have it done
coming.
every year, right?
Pardon?
You're gonna have the bridge inspected?
Yeah, I just every year she'll remind us, send me an email, or I'll send her one.
Your dog's
We'll
out
sign
there.
it every
How old is the
year.
bridge?
Your dog's out there running around.
Oh, Maggie Falls there.
Not me either.
Thank you.
Very good.
You keep those for top?
That's